Hey folks, welcome back to Kansas Boxing Channel. So, after losing to Filip Hrgović, where does Joe Joyce go? Now, the most popular video I've ever uploaded on this channel got like 11,000 views, which is amazing for a small channel like this. Asked the question, is Joe Joyce okay? And in that video, I went through basically from soup to nuts my concern about Joe Joyce's what I consider to be a perceived cognitive decline, evidenced by slurring speech and moments of freezing. It was made from a good place because I'm a big fan of Joe Joyce. I like Joe Joyce. I think we all like Joe Joyce. I've really never seen anybody who says, I don't like Joe Joyce, right? Now, he's lost 4 of his last 5 fights. 2 against Zhang, which were bad losses. He then won against Cash Ali. He lost fairly close decision, I guess, against Chisora. And he lost what you could argue was a close decision against Filip Hrgović. I know the scorecards were wider than you would say a close decision would warrant. But anyways, he lost. Let's just leave it at that for the moment. Now, I thought that after his loss against Filip Hrgović, that he sounded actually better in his immediate post-fight interview in the ring than I've heard him for a while. And I made a comment. Some people said no, some people said yes, whatever. But that was to my ears. And then I saw him interviewed in his changing room by one of the big channels. And they were asking him about retirement. They asked him, like they're asking gentle questions, right? And he said, no, CTE, I've got my wits about me. And I thought, I wonder, has he ever read the book called Damage, which I think is a 2021 book, and it talks about CTE and boxers. It's a harrowing read. If anybody has read it, you'll probably agree with me. If you've listened to it on Audible, it's even more harrowing for some reason. I don't know why, but anyways. And the point is, you don't have to have lost your wits to have already suffered some irreparable harm. These things tend to manifest themselves over time. And so, yet again, yesterday we saw Joe Joyce, and for that matter, Filip Hrgović, take a lot of punishment. And Joe Joyce is 40 years old in September. And so, were I in any position to influence him, I would say, please, for the sake of your future health, hang up the gloves. You've been a great servant to British boxing. You had an outstanding amateur record. You were an Olympian. You've done very well in the professional ranks. Yes, fair enough. You haven't done as well as you would have hoped or that we all expected. But them's the breaks. You're now sitting at 16-4. Where do you think you're going to go? And if he said, well, I've got other big fights ahead of me, which in fact he has said, then let's look at who would he fight? Would he try and go back a little bit and maybe regain a British title? Would he look to fight someone like a David Adeleye? I don't know. Would he look to rematch Derek Chisora? Well, Chisora is theoretically retiring after the next fight. Would he look for a fight with Dillian Whyte? Would he look to rematch Filip Hrgović? Well, Hrgović has probably now got his sights set on the next level up of fighters. Filip wants to get back in the mix. Would Joe Joyce be open for a fight with Anthony Joshua? Well, probably yes, but then Anthony Joshua doesn't seem to have any interest in fighting anybody other than Tyson Fury, or possibly Daniel Dubois rematch, which I don't think that there's a lot of interest there for that fight. So, one's scratching the head a little bit. Like, who does Joe Joyce fight if he wants to continue on? Does he slide into that gatekeeper type role that's been occupied by Chisora for the last few years? In which case he's going to be exposing himself to up-and-comers who are hungry and desirous of moving through the ranks. And lacking defenses, it's likely that he's going to end up taking more and more punishment. So for me, I think this is a sad story. I emotionally wanted Joe Joyce to win, but my head was saying, well, hopefully he gets beat, and he gets beat convincingly, and then the light bulb goes on and he says, oh, right, I'm done. So like a second or third round KO by Hrgović might have achieved that. But of course he went the full 10 in a slugfest that some people at ringside said he won. Dillian White said he won. Carl Frampton gave it to Hrgović by 1. On my little Facebook WhatsApp group, some of us thought that Joyce did enough. So in his mind and in the mind of his team, that was encouraging news. So what do you think? Just leave your comments in the comment section below. Should Joe Joyce retire? And if he doesn't retire, who do you think he should be matching himself against? Please let me know. I think this is an interesting discussion that we can have. Especially as, at least I think, like 90% of the subscribers to this channel are very pro Joe Joyce, in that we all really, really like him and nobody wants anything bad to happen to him. So let me know. Please like, please share, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks very much for watching. Cheers.